All right, so why do most businesses give up on YouTube ads prematurely?
So there is a reason for that, right? Number one, YouTube ads require work. You don't just go onto Google Ads, throw up a video and expect it to magically work. Just like any paid advertising platform, there's a period of testing and optimization. Now, what happens in a lot of cases is there are multiple barriers to getting a profitable campaign. Number one is you need good creative, right? So, let's say the first creative you try, the energy isn't there, it's not really shot professionally, etc., and that creative is not getting a great CTR, you're gonna have to go back to the drawing board and shoot another creative. The second thing is obviously the audiences, right? Like once you start getting something that's working reasonably well on the creative side, then obviously you're gonna be seeing some audiences work and some don't. And in many cases, when you're starting out with a fresh account, it requires quite a bit of testing to find those audiences that work. Then the third thing is the algorithm, right? So when you're starting with a new fresh Google Ads account, it has no data. You're using CPV campaigns, which is cost per view bidding. So you're basically not optimizing for conversions. While after you get 50 plus conversions in the account, you start using target CPA campaigns, which optimize for conversions. Now you're able to cut your cost per lead, cost per sale down massively. So what this means is, you have these multiple factors, right? And then we're not even talking about the funnel, right? Like you're gonna have to test landing pages, you're gonna have to test different things. So does it mean it's hard to get YouTube ads working? No, like if you're testing all of these things, which you should be, which is what, kind of I teach in my course and my videos, then you will figure it out. Now, is it going to be day one? No, it's just not going to be. Like you do need to give it time. Now, here's the way I want you to think about this, right? If you are running a business and if you can get your paid advertising working, right? Let's say you're running an e-commerce store, you can crack YouTube as a platform. Let's say you scale to $100,000 a month in spend and you're making a significant profit from that. Now, it is worth going through a few months of testing to crack that, right? Like it is absolutely worth it because then you'll have years of basically just buying media in a platform where your competitors most probably aren't. A lot of e-commerce stores are not running any ads on YouTube, and the ones that are able to become huge. Now, if you look at a company like Dollar Shave Club or Dollar Beard Club that use YouTube ads to get famous, to basically become huge, I think it was acquired for like some ridiculous, like $1 billion, right? Now, if you ask them, hey, do you guys think it was all that worth all that effort to shoot that video ad where you had to, do that whole elaborate production? They'll tell you yes, because a large part of the growth was responsible. It was due to that video that they created and then to the advertising they did. And I'm guaranteeing when they first started, they made some missteps. It wasn't just like they just threw an ad up and it worked. So, if you're trying to really grow your business, yeah, you have to do the testing, you have to do the work to be able to make it work. So the biggest thing in my opinion is just not giving it the effort and the time it needs. And once you do that, sometimes you can get things working really fast. With some clients, we are profitable very, very quickly. With other clients, it takes some work. So you might be lucky and be profitable right off the bat, or you might be unlucky and you have to work a bit, but it's okay. It's ultimately you want to be thinking a year ahead. You want to be thinking, hey, what is the payoff if I can figure this out? Instead of thinking, hey, this is, I'm losing money right now, right? Mm-hmm. And then if you are afraid of losing money right now up front, then perhaps you should wait a little bit before trying YouTube ads, right? Like you want to make sure you give it enough of a budget so that you can actually test it.
And that's actually one thing I want to ask you next is what I see is why people give up on YouTube ads prematurely is due to two things: lack of patience and a lack of a budget, right? So the first part is how long should they give YouTube ads a shot? Like how many months before they can, completely write it off? And the second part is what is the optimal daily budget or daily budget, monthly budget for somebody to actually validate if YouTube ads are working or not?
So yeah, in terms of time, obviously this depends on how much budget you have. We would usually recommend a 2-month test. That's what we usually do. So that usually gives you a ton of data and usually you've made a lot of progress or you've seen that, okay, this is not working, but give it 2 months, right? And in terms of budget, it depends on the price point of your offer. If you're selling, let's say, like $100 e-commerce product or $150 e-commerce product, your budget might be $300 a day, right? And you'll get good quality data from that. Now, on the other hand, if you're running a $1,000 e-commerce product or a $2,000 course, you're going to need a bigger budget because you just need more data. You just need to be get statistically significant data before you say yes or no. And then if you're running, let's say, an info product, then you might optimize for leads, right? So then you look at leads as the front end indicator of performance, right? So, the first thing you do is try to get your cost per lead to the $15 to $10 mark and maybe lower. And the second thing you do is perhaps get your add to cart down. And then you're basically kind of figuring out like how to get the cost for each part of the funnel down. You'll probably need to optimize your funnel, make some changes. Really, it's a whole goal is the data you're buying with these ads, you're using it to make changes in your ads, in your landing page, in your offer, and eventually figure out, okay, this is working, this is not working, and it works. Even with us, right, like internally for our paid traffic, we also see that, right? Like we have one funnel we ran that did really badly, and then we tried another lead magnet funnel, and right now that lead magnet funnel is getting us very, very cheap leads. So you just have to test different things, and ultimately you have to accept that it's going to take some time and work to figure things out.
And if somebody's looking maybe at just from the perspective of the creative, right? They're saying, okay, they're judging the campaigns based on looking at the data within the campaigns and looking at the creative. What are some of the main KPIs they should be looking at, and kind of some of the baseline numbers for those?
Got it. So for the creatives, I would say click-through rate is very important. If it's under 1%, you might have an issue. We often find like really great creatives are 1.5 to 2%. Right now we have an e-commerce video ad doing over 2% click-through rate. So click-through rate is number one. Number two is also, obviously a cost per lead, or if you're selling an e-commerce product, cost per add to cart. Other
conversion value as well.
Conversion value is massive. So you want to make sure you're importing conversion value into Google Ads if you're running an e-com product, especially just because you want to know exactly how much revenue is being generated, right, from each ad, because they could buy a $10 product or $150 bundle, right? So yeah, those are a couple key indicators. Cost per sale, obviously, cost per click, cost per view. Cost per view is great to show you how competitive your niche is. Cost per click as well as telling you, kind of how your ad is doing. But ultimately, click-through rate is the most important one because that actually shows you how engaging your ad is and how people are going from that. And then landing page opt-in percentage rate, conversion rate on that. So for example, if you're getting a really good click-through rate, let's say like a 1.6% click-through rate, but your cost per lead is really high, what's probably happening is your landing page is not set up right and it's getting a low conversion rate on your landing page. So then you want to be fixing that. So there's different things, right? Like ultimately, like with anything in the online marketing world, you're dealing with multiple factors and you want to be just always optimizing different parts of your funnel, right? Yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you want to learn more about running YouTube ads, we have a detailed YouTube ads targeting guide link below. And yeah, definitely hit the subscribe button if you like this video.
With our feet on the ground, and we will talk with our head in the clouds, and we will walk